And we are back. Welcome to Shark Coast Tactical Podcast, episode 88. I am here with an illustrious guest. I have the gun lawyer himself, Jeff.
Howdy ho.
Hi ho.
What's up?
Round of applause.
Yes, round of applause.
Jeffrey Young, attorney to the stars, local celebrity here of Sarasota, Florida, and our in-house legal expert, so we brought him in. I have
Omar. Hello.
Omar. He just wants to be known as Omar. We have the artist formerly known as Omar.
Big O.
Just Omar.
Kind of like Bono. You just Omar.
Just Omar's great.
Luke the Glue.
Yeah.
Getting lorded, my lord Andrews.
What up?
And the amazing motherfucking Dean Carroll.
Going on?
Nice.
What's going on? Thank you for coming in, Jeff.
Yeah,
Here.
of course.
I'm
Good to
going
see
to reach
everybody. Good to see everybody. I always love to come in, stop by, see what's going on.
Now
Get some knowledge.
you're dressed up tonight. Why is that?
Yeah, I just like to step it up every now and then. You got to keep up with fashion styles, and you got to, I don't know, just stand out a little bit. So trying a new look.
Do I dare say you have a date or something later on?
No. That's just you guys.
All right.
one on four.
He was
That's
throwing
it.
newspapers off of a bicycle.
I know, right? It's the newsboy look. That's the statement you get all the time.
No,
so.
that's the cool guy hat to wear if you're like older.
It gets a lot of looks, right? Yeah, it gets a lot
I
of
wear
looks.
those hats.
A couple years ago, we went on a British Isle cruise, and so everybody over in Britain wears those hats, and they sell them all the places. So I bought one, started wearing it. It actually feels better when you're kind of bald. The baseball caps suck because they scrape your skin and they don't feel comfortable. These are nice and soft and texture, so you get a little bit of the coverage, elevates your game a little bit, and it doesn't make your bald head scratchy. So.
Hey, Eric, could you turn my ears down just a little bit?
Test.
There we go.
There we go.
Test.
All right.
You should have just done what I did with suppressor reviews. Like, it hurts your ears, but you're like, this is great.
All right.
Hearing suppression. Go ahead.
So, Jeff, there's many things we want to talk about tonight.
All right.
I have stuff that Omar wants to get off his chest.
Oh, no, I don't. Not with Jeff.
I have stuff that
His hair.
Dean wants to get off his chest. Lots of information, but let's open it up. What do you know about the NFA case in Texas?
The new, the one that the judge just shot down the NFA a little while ago.
Yeah, Fifth Circuit Court. And
Right.
it's the nomenclature right now is either the NFA case in Texas or
Right.
silencer shop versus the ATF.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, a federal judge has said that my understanding is that the NFA Act is unconstitutional. He basically gutted it and said it's unconstitutional. You can't restrict those things. You can't require a tax stamp, et cetera, et cetera. So it was found unconstitutional by one federal judge, not even an appeal panel, not a district or a circuit or anything, just one federal judge shot it down. So whenever that happens, everybody always runs to the clickbait headlines. Oh, federal court throws out NFA Act, whatever. But the answer to that is no. It's one federal judge. It only applies usually to the actual plaintiffs in the case. And then it only applies to whatever the district that judge is sort of not in charge of, but works out of, or what his district is. So if somebody in the 5th district in Texas, a judicial judge, one judge, finds it unconstitutional, that doesn't mean in Florida it's unconstitutional. It's not a statewide or a nationwide unconstitutionalist. He didn't issue an injunction. That's what you see sometimes with these federal judges, especially ones that don't like Trump. They enter a nationwide injunction against a law, and that suspends it nationwide while it's pending. But that didn't happen here. They basically ruled in this one case with these one plaintiffs in this one area, and so the ruling only applies to those people within that box. If you're outside that box, everything is still the same as it was before.
They did give so people at home, what we're talking about if you are living in a box, we're talking about Silencer Shop Foundation versus the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. Approximately on August 5th, the federal court ruled that because Congress reduced the NFA stamp to $0,
Mm-hmm.
The government can no longer require registration or waiting periods for those items.
Correct.
And so that they gave the government, I think, a 7-day stay, which ends tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah,
But but again, that's a stay for them to do an appeal or file whatever they want to do. And that still doesn't mean that it's not an injunction. It's not a nationwide ban.
But the judge
my
can,
understanding.
the judge can So great that you're here because you know law and I don't. But from my understanding, the judge can issue tomorrow. The federal government has the ability to say, okay, we're going to appeal this. And then the judge has the option to say, okay, it's going to stand while you appeal it.
Right.
So they can, the
but
judge
it still
can,
only applies in that area.
yes, but the nomenclature was all present and future. So if you all want to be a member,
You talk about Gun Owners of America or whoever the plaintiffs are.
the plaintiffs include
Right.
Brad Wentz, John Jensen, Jeremy Noosh, David Lynn Smith, Silencer Shop Foundation, B&T USA LLC, Palmetto State Armory, Hot Shots Custom, Silencer Co. Weapons and Research, Gun Owners of America,
Correct.
Firearm Regulatory Accountability Coalition, Texas State Rifle Association, FPC, what's up, Jeff? Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. So, am I wrong to believe that I can join one of these groups and then it applies to me?
Yes.
Why?
If you're in the Fifth Circuit in Texas. The big picture you're missing is the geography. It's not a nationwide ban on the NFA Act. It's not a nationwide injunction that prevents the federal government from enforcing the NFA Act. It is a ban it's not even a ban. It's a finding of the act unconstitutional within the Fifth Circuit Court in the Texas area.
But can't the Fifth
If you're
Circuit Court,
outside that, you're shit out of luck.
But
Doesn't
can't they-
matter if you're a GOA member or not.
can't they enact it tomorrow though?
Who's
Can't
they?
The federal judge in the Fifth Circuit Court.
Enact what?
Injunction.
Nationwide?
Correct. He
A
has
nation-
to issue an injunction.
A nation. So it is in theory the judge could issue a nationwide injunction tomorrow.
Correct.
While they do their which then you can be a member of the GOA and this applies to you without being in the Fifth Circuit Court.
Correct. There's a couple different things they can do. Because again, this has been happening with all the Trump stuff. You get some rogue federal judge. I'm not saying this guy's a rogue, but in the Trump cases, you would get these rogue federal judges that would issue an injunction nationwide that says you can't deport people who are dreamers or whatever executive order or law was passed. And
What's a dreamer? Is that like a country?
No,
What is
it's the children who were brought here by their parents from another country and they've lived here for 20-something years or whatever, and they shouldn't be deported because they're not citizens and they can't be, but they lived here forever. But whatever it is,
That's
Trump,
called a dreamer?
yes, that's what they call them, a dreamers. Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah. so Trump
Wait,
was
hold on.
No, go
Hold
ahead.
on. Omar,
yes.
can you give the folks at home some of your little impressions that you've been doing lately?
It's better if it comes naturally.
Can you talk about the third hole in Kyle Rittenhouse again?
When the time comes.
Oh, come on. Say it.
When the time comes.
Omar so Omar's working in the store all the time now, and he imitates Trump all
I
day
know.
long.
He was doing it earlier when I got here. Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse told me I could use the third hole.
I'll pass by Andrew and just go, that guy's a pedophile.
All right, so I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, that's all right.
It's tangents. I'm sorry.
We always
So-
do that.
we- yeah.
Trump would pass a law or sign an executive order, and then a judge would issue a nationwide injunction, and it would stop that executive order from going into place. They would do an emergency appeal to the Supreme Court. It would go to the Supreme Court, and they would either overturn that federal judge or not overturn that federal judge. This guy didn't do that. So this guy just made his ruling that says it's unconstitutional, and it only applies to the plaintiffs, either the current plaintiffs or if it says anybody who's a future member of these groups.
Future.
Then that would apply to them as well. But again, that only stands for his jurisdiction in the Fifth Circuit.
But he could do it tomorrow.
If he wanted to, he could have done it when he originally ruled. If what he wanted was a nationwide injunction, he could have done that when he ruled
Is it
2 weeks ago or whatever.
am I just thinking with rose-colored glasses and shiny sparkles to think that maybe in the gunosphere that people are pressuring the present administration to get a nationwide injunction, thus booming stimulating the gun economy and creating more of a favorable base for Trump right now?
I mean, I think that's reading into it. I think it's a lawsuit that was filed. We knew this.
No, I'm saying that you could. All right, say you have all these these guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're in Washington saying, "Hey, get the Justice Department or get the judge to do a nationwide injunction while they appeal it," thus stimulating the economy to the point of where all the gun lobby and the gun people will be favorable towards Trump because he helped them get the nationwide injunction.
But they're on the other side, so I don't know how they're suing the Trump administration. By definition, they're suing the Justice Department and the Trump administration and the ATF basically for enforcing these laws. That is the Trump administration. So they're the defendants in this case. So they're not going to go to the judge and ask the judge for a nationwide injunction because they're not the plaintiffs, the one who are doing the suing. So Trump can't do that. What they could do is like what the AG did here in Florida when the open carry law was found unconstitutional. He said, we're not appealing that. Therefore, it became sort of state law by default. So the Department of Justice could come out and say, we agree with this judge. We think this act is unconstitutional. We're not going to appeal it. But then if that's the case, it would basically just stay where it's at because, again, it's only in the Fifth Circuit. So you would actually want this to be appealed so that it can go to the Supreme Court because what you want is the Supreme Court to make a ruling that the NFA Act is unconstitutional. So procedurally,
you're such a
it
fucking
is
killjoy. Dude.
I know
you're
I am.
Such a fucking killjoy.
I know I am because I don't like clickbaits and headlines and people being.
You do.
The NFA dies today.
Like you got to look at it as well. And look, I love Gun Owners of America. They do all the lawsuits and stuff, but they're the ones who are almost more guilty than anybody else with these clickbaits and headlines because they want members. So as soon as they win one of these things, all their headlines are like, we just got the NFA Act gutted. Federal judge guts NFA Act. And then people got to read through the thing to realize that it doesn't apply to them sitting in Sarasota, Florida. So they're guilty of doing that as well because, again, they want the membership. But this is just following a pattern of what we've seen a lot lately with all these gun lawsuits. We'll talk about it probably later with marijuana and everything else. Like the courts are just shooting these down like left and right. So every time one of these cases is now coming up, they're getting shot down. They just shot down the New Jersey ban on assault rifles and large capacity magazines. They just got rid of the thing about being a marijuana user. The Supreme Court actually just did that. The Supreme Court just took up an assault weapons ban case. They're going to hear that in December. So I believe that sometime probably around February or March when the rulings come out, they're going to strike down assault weapons bans across the country because they're not going to exist anymore. We got one, the open carry here. There's one pending here about felons with nonviolent crimes being able to get their gun rights back. So you're seeing all these lawsuits fall in line. So this is just another lawsuit in the latest ring of ones that are following in line. And what's happening is they have to go higher up to get to the Supreme Court before it becomes a nationwide thing. Until then, it's in that tiny little box. So no, you still have the NFA Act.
Fucking killjoy, Jeff.
So
All the hype gone.
All the hype gone. Unless you're in
The Fifth Circuit,
Texas, Alaska,
yes,
Georgia,
the Fifth Circuit, right? It's part of Georgia,
Idaho,
Texas, wherever they are,
But-
and either a current member or become a member of Gun Owners of America.
but like, isn't PSA in that list?
Palmetto State Army, yeah.
Yeah, but they're in South Carolina. So how does
Right. Well,
how does
they're
that
private
work?
because they're a private company. So again, the gun owner.
Is there any chance you could be wrong that I could be a member of GOA and not have to do fucking paperwork anymore?
No.
Come tomorrow.
No.
You should try it. See what
Yeah.
happens.
Listen to Jeff. Listen to Jeff.
Well, I called another council and they said different.
Okay.
I think you should gamble your whole life away on this. I think you should put your entire life and livelihood on the line and just start handing out cans without stamps, and then we'll see if Jeff was right.
Yeah. When somebody comes in here tomorrow to buy a suppressor, just tell them they don't need a stamp or any paperwork. Just take the cash and send them home with the suppressor and see what happens.
So another I contacted some other lawyers about other things that we're going to talk
Sure.
about, and they said so. What could happen tomorrow was the judge can issue an injunction, an injunction. If injunctions nationwide, then Gun Owners of America those people can essentially, you now do background check. You do a 4473 for a suppressor because the suppressor is technically a gun.
Right.
And you do a background check for SBRs and stuff.
Sure.
Now, while the government is appealing, they say that this other counsel said that you can go ahead and start doing the releasing everything.
Mm-hmm.
You'll save a couple days because there's no fucking cost of anything anymore.
Right.
So, but
Just waiting for the stamp.
The
yeah.
benefit's really minuscule except the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
But if that item is used in a crime, you lose your, what's it called? Fucking
PLACC.
you lose your PLACC. You know what that is, Omar?
What the fuck is a PLACC?
I don't even know what that is.
So so as manufacturers, you're protected by the government from being sued. Allegedly, you're
Correct.
supposed to be.
Yes.
But if you fuck around with one of these injunctions, and then it does not apply to you.
Okay. It takes you out of the immunity.
It takes
There's
you
an
out-
immunity statute for gun manufacturers, but if you go outside the lines of the immunity you have in that statute, then you can be sued.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's
And that becomes an issue if you're a gun, because again, let's say the injunction goes in place tomorrow, so people start releasing all these things, and then it goes in front of the Supreme Court, and they say no, it's okay to have the NFA Act. What happens to all that shit that went out the door during this injunction period? Which is why I don't see a judge issuing an injunction, because he doesn't want to. What do you do with all that stuff? Then those people got to bring them back.
No, this council said that they'll just let it ride.
They might, but I mean, it's your shop.
I want a revolution, Jeff.
I mean, it's your shop.
Now, what do you think, Omar?
I want to remind you that like we had the NFA dead. The big beautiful bill had the removal of SBRs, SBSs, and silencers on there. And the one lady was like, nah, this isn't finances. And then we lost it right there. Like, we were at the goalpost. We were at the finish line, and we lost it. I'm not going to get excited for anything ever again, let alone like, oh, if this, then that, then if, then that. Like, there's too many steps to get excited about anything. We were there.
You are aging, my man.
Well, we were there.
You are getting older.
If I was so excited when it was there, and then we lost it at the finish line, like it had passed the Senate, it had passed the House.
It was not going to make it through reconciliation, because she's technically right. It wasn't a financial thing. You can only go through, bore the shit out of people. You can only go through reconciliation if it's a financial matter, and because it was just stripping it and throwing it out completely, it didn't relate to finance. It didn't save any money in the budget or anything along those lines. So they got rid of it. But this was the strategy. So immediately when they threw that out, and the compromise was to take the tax away, because then that made it financial, so it could go in there. Immediately upon doing that, all the lawyers and the gun owner groups were saying this is eventually going to get thrown out now, because it was sort of a backdoor way of doing it, because the only reason the NFA is allowed is because it was a tax. Once you remove the tax part of it, there's no longer a constitutional reason to have the NFA. It was the same thing, if you remember, with Obamacare. The reason we have Obamacare is because Judge Roberts said, well, it's a tax. And if it's a tax, the government can regulate it. If you remove the tax concept of it, the government can't regulate it. So this entire process, when it got shot down in reconciliation, but the $200 got removed, immediately the next day, these lawsuits started getting filed all around the country under that theory. And that's the theory that they use in this case. Is the judge, my understanding is the judge didn't say, as a matter of the Second Amendment and the language that's in there, the NFA is unconstitutional. He followed their argument and said, well, because the tax part was removed, it's now no longer a tax, therefore it's unconstitutional. If tomorrow a Democratic Congress miraculously showed up and a Democratic president miraculously showed up and they added the tax back in, guess what? Now the NFA is going to be constitutional, because they've already found it constitutional because it's related to the tax. So they have this small window here where the tax doesn't exist, where they can get it thrown out.
I'm not going to get excited about anything until it happens anymore.
Other people can have different opinions. Lawyers have different opinions about things, and that's fine. I believe, my personal opinion is that if you're living in Sarasota, Florida, and not a member of Gun Owners of America, you can't, the rules still apply to you. If you become a Gun Owners of America and you're living in Sarasota, Florida, the rules still apply to you. Take that what you will. People can do what they want. ManasotaGunLawyer.com. You'll find my phone number. Just Google it. You'll find my phone number.
What do you think, Dean?
I was excited for it, but after hearing what Jeff's saying today,
You should still be excited, because this is the way people. I know everybody's tired of waiting, but people just need to be patient, because I'm telling you, the trends as you see them are all falling in our direction. When the Supreme Court came out with the Bruin decision, which is the one that said it's no longer the standard is no longer is it in the government's interest, but is there a historical reason to have these laws? These things started getting shot down all over the place, both local, state, and federal. They started getting shot down left and right. And the Supreme Court has upheld the Bruin decision on the 2 or 3 cases that have come in front of them, and they've struck down laws too, again, with the marijuana and everything else. So I'm 99.9% confident that when this assault weapons ban and large capacity magazine ban case comes in front of the Supreme Court in December, they're going to strike them down. And then that's going to be unconstitutional. This case is going to go somewhere. If the Justice Department either doesn't like it, they're going to appeal it. And if they do like it and they want a more nationwide ruling, they're going to appeal it because they have to get it up to a higher court to make it nationwide. So this is going to work its way through the system. And if everything goes the way that it's been going in the last 4 years since Bruin was decided, it's going to be thrown out. So my advice to people is just
wait, huh?
Just wait it out. Marijuana people can now have their guns. Felons are pretty soon going to be able to have their guns.
All right,
assault weapons are going to be gone.
That is the favorite topic of the YouTube is the marijuana.
Yes.
So where are we with marijuana and guns?
So you can have marijuana and guns now. You can have your card and everything else. Yeah. The Supreme Court case came out and said that just because you're a user of marijuana is not a reason to prohibit you from buying a firearm.
But the form is still the same.
I don't know what's going on with that. That's a question for you guys. I don't know what's taking so long for them to fix the form or change the form around. I would have suspected a new form to have been sent out by now to sort of fix that issue. So I don't know if they just need time to draft it or whatever. But the ruling from the Supreme Court was, as we know, if you were a user of marijuana, it made you a prohibited person and you could not possess a firearm. You would fail the background check. The ruling literally says just because somebody uses marijuana, either medically or non-medically or whatever, does not make them a dangerous person and they should not be prohibited from buying firearms. So they ruled that marijuana and firearms can now mix. Why you don't have a different form, that's a question for the ATF.
Did you guys know that?
No, I was about to say, when did they rule
when
that?
this happened?
That was just like a month ago.
A month and we don't have a new form?
We've been trying to get Jeff on the
I thought
podcast
you would have had. I honestly
that
thought
time.
you would have a new form by now because I was talking to McGowan about that too. But yeah,
I heard about it, but I didn't really believe it, and I wanted to get Jeff on to see if it was really true or not. And then plus we haven't had fucking Cheech and Chong and Ben and Jerry coming into the shop saying, "Hey,
right, yeah,
I'm allowed to have it." Like
Right.
we've still been kicking out people who
they're
stink.
not paying attention. And again, that's those you guys as shops can do whatever you want. And I advise people not to. If the form still asks that question, they should answer it truthfully and see what happens when you run the background check. But my belief is that was the Supreme Court ruling that just came out about medical marijuana users being allowed to have firearms.
What about kids? 18
Well, they should not take marijuana. Oh, hang on, I can't spell marijuana firearm. Supreme Court. As far as 18-year-olds go, yeah, they struck that. A Florida court struck that down.
Okay,
so that's gone as well. So now,
how do we get where's that at?
What do you mean?
Okay, so
it was a case law again. A case came out that struck down the ban on 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in Florida purchasing firearms.
Okay,
Firearms or just handguns?
Your internet here sucks. Why can't I get?
Are you on the Wi-Fi?
Why can't I look up stuff? No,
well,
I got full bars though.
Just
get shitty bars, dude.
I do. I also spelled marijuana wrong.
Your spell check should fix it though.
It's not. It says marijuana. The ban is that 18, 19, and 20-year-olds couldn't get a concealed carry permit, and that has been struck down as well.
So can we sell 18-year-olds rifles?
Well, I wasn't prepared for all these topics. I asked Will the topics, and he didn't say anything about 18 and 20-year-olds buying firearms.
He does that.
I believe I know the answer to that because we talked about it on Frontside Press. In a landmark decision on June 18th, 2026, so a little over a month ago, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the federal government cannot automatically disarm or prosecute individuals for possessing a firearm based solely on their occasional or regular use of marijuana. The
Then why aren't all the
Supreme
hippies
Court
coming
found
in?
that the federal ban prohibiting unlawful users of controlled substances from possessing guns is too broad when applied to moderate, casual cannabis consumers who are not intoxicated or dangerous while handling a firearm. What remains prohibited is active intoxication, of course.
So they can't be high when they come in here and buying it.
Correct.
Okay.
The government may still pursue restrictions or prosecutions if it can present specific evidence that an individual's drug use renders them generally dangerous or incapacitated. So yeah, they basically said if you use marijuana, the federal prohibition is illegal.
Wow.
So yes, so I don't know why ATF hasn't changed the form. I figured they would have changed it by now. So I don't know. You may want to call your ATF people and say, hey, why haven't you changed the form?
Well, the government's really fast.
Right.
So it's weird, man. That's a whole different. So now, like, what do we do with medical marijuana cards?
Don't care.
They're fine. Right. It's fine. Like that whole thing is gone. All those things, all those questions that I that's the number one question I've gotten my entire career is, what do I do when I shoot somebody, or / when can I shoot somebody? The second question is always marijuana and guns. And I've always said, you can't have it, you can't have it, you can't have it. You can. There's no ban anymore. My position is, and the gun community, lawyer community's position is that you can have a medical marijuana card now. You can be a casual user of marijuana. The federal prohibition on that has been struck down.
And so
as
when
of
the
6 weeks ago,
when the Supreme Court strikes something down like that, is it immediate throughout the land? Like how do you enforce?
When that ruling came out that day, June 26th, it became illegal to prosecute somebody or it became illegal to ban people from possessing firearms who are marijuana users.
Wow. Yeah. So ATF hasn't reached out to us at all.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything about that, Luke? You're Chris's compliance gimp.
I don't know about that, but I remember like reading about the case, I believe, and them saying like it was a guy that got arrested or something, and he had a gun, and they searched his house, and he had guns and weed, and they were like, you said no on the form for are you a medical marijuana user or whatever, and he's like, well, I'm not addicted to it. It's not like
right. And
they said, yeah, I guess they said, yeah, you shouldn't have to say yes if you're just a casual user of this drug.
Right.
And I didn't know it was completely like set in stone, because you hear about stuff like this all the time, like, oh, new case.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that was
you're the one, Jeff. You're the one who always tells us to err with caution. You're always the killjoy.
But that was a direct ruling that says
from the Supreme. So when there's a direct ruling from the Supreme Court,
Correct.
It's the law of the land.
The law of the land. That's
and
literally the phrase.
Nobody else has the like the ATF can't restrict it because they're their own little fucking
correct.
thingy.
The ATF can't say, well, we disagree with you, so we're still going to prosecute. No, they can't do it.
But they can take a while to get the forms out.
That is probably a bureaucratic issue.
So did any guys
or
know?
They just don't ask it anymore, or you guys can strike it off. Like you might want to call your local ATF person and say, hey, what am I supposed to do with the form now?
Yeah, they answered the phone.
Now this law came out. Yeah. No.
Well, I know there was like the new form that they sent us a copy of. I think this was before that ruling.
Well, because Trump executive ordered marijuana to come off of Schedule A.
Yeah.
So that was an executive order that he did that says marijuana is no longer classified as a Schedule A drug, which meant that theoretically you don't have to answer that question now anymore either. Yeah. So they were already working on a new form for that issue. Now, that was an executive order. I personally believe that he doesn't have the authority to do that. But if nobody, Moms Demand Action or whatever, doesn't file a lawsuit that says you can't do that, and you don't get some federal judge that issues a nationwide injunction on this new form, then that's just going to happen. The DOJ and the ATF is going to change the form. So that was already in the works.
Yeah.
And then the Supreme Court ruling came out that said marijuana users are okay to have guns. So to me, the question should just be stricken completely from the form. There should be no qualifiers on there unless it's something like, because as I read it to you, if you're what did it say? Addicted to it or
Are
a
you
danger
an
to it or
unlawful
whatever.
user of or addicted to?
Right. Well, it's not even an unlawful user because it doesn't make a distinction between legal marijuana or illegal marijuana.
It does further in the question. There's
No, I'm talking about the Supreme Court ruling.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the Supreme Court ruling doesn't say legal marijuana user with a medical marijuana card. It makes a blanket statement that says marijuana users, by definition, aren't prohibited. So I don't even think it shouldn't say unlawful user. It should say, are you? What is it? What is the phrase that it said? It said they can.
The question pertains to any illegal drug, and then makes the distinction after the question in parentheses saying marijuana counts, basically.
Right.
So they would just have to get rid of that parentheses.
Gene,
The federal ban prohibited unlawful users of controlled substance from possessing guns. It's too broad when applied to moderate, casual cannabis users who are not intoxicated or dangerous while handling a firearm. So it says that true addiction or danger may still be a qualifier. The government may still pursue restrictions or prosecutions if it can present specific evidence that an individual's drug use renders them genuinely dangerous or incapacitated. So unless they can come up with some sort of question that says, do you use marijuana to the extent that you render
Become
yourself
dangerous.
genuinely dangerous or incapacitated, I don't know how they could have a question in there about marijuana at all at this particular point based on the Supreme Court's ruling.
Do the voice, Omar. Are you dangerous?
This man is very dangerous.
He's very dangerous.
Very,
I've
very
seen
dangerous.
him.
Worst dangerous man you've ever seen. There's a lot of dangerous men. This is probably the most dangerous
On the pot.
ever. And the ironic thing is, remember when they were going after what's
Hunter
Joe
Biden.
Biden's Hunter
Hunter
Biden.
Biden.
That's you know exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
When they were prosecuting Hunter Biden for his gun crimes, that was their defense. That he is a casual user of these drugs. There's no evidence that he was addicted to them, so the statute is unconstitutional. So Hunter Biden actually made this legal argument in his legal case, and that judge didn't buy it. He lost it. And then now, ironically, 2 years later or whatever it's been, the Supreme Court has thrown it out. So that becomes a question of what do you do with people who have convictions on those sentences? Like, this is a new law, obviously, going forward, but does that mean you can maybe file a motion or some sort of petition to have your conviction for lying on the form for marijuana or whatever? Probably not, because most of those things aren't retroactive. They're going forward. But I could certainly see somebody making an argument that they should have their record expunged or something because the law has now changed since then.
God, how many times have we stopped the sale because the fucking stoner pulls out the medical marijuana card? It's very common for people to pull out the medical marijuana card thinking it's their ID, and they'll just hand it to you.
Yeah.
And then you have to
And then you're
stop
like, well,
like,
yeah.
lost $4,000.
I think you're good to go if that happens, but that again, those are personal decisions amongst the store. You're right. I always argue your license is more important than one random guy coming in to buy a gun. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the Supreme Court's concerned, you're good to go with all that. Now, 18 to 29-year-olds.
Yes.
20-year-olds.
Yes.
It's about concealed carry. It's not about buying from stores. So a Florida appeals court ruled the state's ban on 18 to 20-year-olds carrying concealed firearms is unconstitutional. Adults aged 18 to 20 may now legally conceal carry and open carry firearms for self-defense, even though the separate legal requirement to purchase a retail firearm from a licensed dealer in Florida remains set at 21. So the only thing it changed was their ability to conceal carry a firearm, not purchase one from a store or any of those other rules. All those rules are still in effect, but now they can at least conceal carry or open carry their firearm.
Is there anything
18, 19, and 20?
So if dad buys you a Glock, then you can legally, as an 18-year-old, own it and carry it.
Because he's going to gift it to you.
How do we
That's the only exception is handing over gifts from like family members.
do you know of any present cases where they're trying to get the 18 thing thrown out?
It's in there.
completely?
They're all over the place. Yeah, there's a couple of them here in Florida. They're all over the other parts of the country. Again, there was a single federal judge, like I want to say a year and a half ago, that ruled the ban on 18, 19, and 20-year-olds is unconstitutional. But it was like Oklahoma or something or whatever, and it just didn't apply here. So it's gonna come. Like, it's gonna come. The next one that's gonna come in Florida is the felon thing, because there is literally, people are waiting for an order right now. There's an appeal case right now where A guy had a felony conviction, but it was for like marijuana or whatever, non-violent, and he got convicted of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He appealed it and said it's unconstitutional on their brewing because there's no historical thing for it. The AG's office originally wrote a letter that said, we agree with this guy's position, so we're not going to fight this case. So the thought was, well, it's going to be the same thing that happened with open carry. It's just going to become a rule. Then I don't know if he got cold feet or who got to him or whatever, but he withdrew his letter to the court and said, well, we'll just wait for your honor's ruling, basically, or the circuit's ruling. So everybody's just waiting for this ruling to come out. It could come out tomorrow. It could come out in 3 months. They have no time frame on issuing their rulings in these appeal cases. But at any moment now, there could be a ruling that comes out that says the ban on either felons across the board, regardless of the crime, or felons who have nonviolent crimes are going to be allowed to have firearms. That's going to come out. They're all coming. You just got to wait.
This is the most positive I've seen you, like, ever.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, the dominoes are rolling. Everything's going.
It's the
our
hat.
way.
Like, the hat makes you more positive.
It does. It does.
So is
everything's coming up our way these days. We haven't lost anything in a while. You'll get a random federal judge that upholds an assault weapons ban in Hawaii or some stupid thing like that or whatever, but 99% of the cases are all going our way.
Yeah, but you still have all these states outlawing everything. Like who just got outlawed? Colorado,
Colorado, Virginia.
Virginia one just came in,
Yeah.
but the Virginia one is on hold,
Right?
Because they're waiting for this one that's at the Supreme Court. A judge actually ruled this ban in Virginia cannot take effect until this Supreme Court ruling comes out, because I think that judge knows what's going to happen in that ruling. I'm telling you right now, I'll bet money on it. Come January or February, all assault weapons bans in America and high-capacity magazine bans are going to be unconstitutional.
After that, can we start calling them just standard
Right,
capacity?
yeah,
mags,
regular
please?
capacity magazines. Yeah. I had a guy, side note tangent, I did a sentencing hearing on a guy a couple of weeks ago. It was possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
What's a sentencing hearing?
So if you get charged with a crime, and then let's say you get convicted at trial, or you enter a plea and you have a sentencing hearing in front of the judge. So that you bring in your family members, your friends, your pastor, whatever. They talk about how great a person you are and you shouldn't go to prison. Prosecutor brings in victims or whoever, and they say you're a horrible person, you go to prison. And then the judge makes a decision of what your sentence is going to be.
I
So
had
it's a
that happen
sentencing
before.
hearing.
Yeah.
So it was just a rifle. It wasn't even an assault rifle. It wasn't an AR or whatever. It was just like a regular hunting rifle. And the prosecutor kept, during the sentencing hearing, calling it an assault rifle, an assault rifle, an assault rifle. It was personally annoying me because it does anyway, but it was really annoying my client, because he's like, well, it's not an assault rifle. It was just a regular hunting rifle, yada, yada. It doesn't change the fact that he couldn't fucking have it in the first place. But setting that aside, I got up during my final arguments, and I put it on the record. I said, Judge, as a gun lawyer and a gun owner, and I'm in all these gun groups, we always put on the record, there's no such thing as an assault rifle. It's a made-up term. It doesn't match anything. This doesn't even fit what your normal definition of assault rifle is, but there's no such thing as an assault rifle. Assault is an action. It's not a noun. It's a verb. It's not a noun. The judges don't give a shit. They just like, okay, Mr. Young, go ahead. And I just made my whole thing. But I always like to put that on the record about assault weapons. So
I will say,
I don't know what they're going to call them at that particular point, but they're going to be. There's going to be.
What happened? What happened? What happened?
Well, he basically got in the middle. So let's say the state wanted 10 years. He was asking for 3 years, and the judge gave him 5.
Probation or 5 years?
Prison.
Fuck!
Well, there's a 3-year minimum mandatory sentence if you're a felon with a firearm. The judge can't give you less than 3 years. It's illegal for her to do that.
So you got 5.
He got 5.
5 years for carrying a fucking hunting rifle. Fuck.
If you're a convicted felon, is a 3-year minimum mandatory sentence. And there's no gain time. You can't get good behavior. It's a day-for-day 3-year sentence if you're a felon caught with a firearm.
So if you're a felon and you, just to paraphrase what
Sure.
you said, if you're say back in 1980, I get caught moving pounds.
Yep.
Right, and I've got a felony. It was happened 40 years ago, and I get caught with a gun and 3 years minimum.
3-year minimum mandatory prison sentence.
Fuck.
Yep. Felonies are like
And no
herpes.
gain
They
time.
don't go away.
No gain time.
Correct.
Explain
You
what
don't
gain
stay
time
for
is to
day.
people.
Well, in Florida, you have to serve 85% of your sentence. So you can be released at 85%. So let's say you get 12 months in prison, you can be released at 9 months and a week or whatever 85% of that is. You get good. People hear it as good time, good behavior,
Gain
or whatever.
time.
We call it gain time here in Florida. So you get your gain time. You can't get anything less than 85%. You have to serve at least 85%. But that 15%, you can get released early. If you get a minimum mandatory sentence, you can't get that 15%. You have to do 100% of your time.
Fuck, man.
And that's
5
not
years.
There's min-mans on all kinds of stuff, mostly trafficking. Like there's 3-year minimum mandatories, there's 7 years, there's 15 years. You get caught with a certain amount of meth or coke or fentanyl or whatever. It's a 15-year min-man. Nobody can do anything about it. The judge can't give you anything less than that. It's
And
illegal
Omar,
sentence.
what were you going to say?
I was just going to say assault weapon is a
Yes.
made-up term. I think assault rifle is a real term. And I think this is an assault rifle. And
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, it
that's
just
another
depends
thing
on-
we should
I mean, it's still-
reclaim.
It's been, some people use it in descriptions. There are some legal definitions of it or whatever, but I still think it's still a
Sturmgewehr.
made-up term.
I would call this an assault rifle, personally.
But it hasn't done anything. It's just sitting there.
Not yet.
Assault is a verb. It's not a noun. It's
Yeah, I mean,
an action.
like there's battle rifles, there's assault rifles.
But that's not a verb. Battle is a noun.
Oh.
The descriptor. It's an adverb, I guess.
He's right there. Like the Germans invented the first assault rifle. Which,
No, I get that there may be historical definitions of it or whatever, but it's still technically a made-up term.
I'm saying
Okay.
it more from like
Although-
I think that is a big thing
As
that
Thor says, all words are made up.
I
Omar,
think-
do you have the exact date you became radicalized?
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
I was
January
gonna say-
6th.
No, it probably was COVID actually.
Well, most of America, yeah.
Yeah. Assault. There's a lot of words that I feel like we've given up in order to appear more like docile and passive as firearms owners to like appeal to the masses to convince them that no, this is not for shooting people. This is a sporting rifle.
Right.
This is a
Target rifle,
target
sporting
rifle,
rifle,
sporting. It's the
hunting
MMP-15
rifle.
sport. Like it's an assault rifle. It's a gun made for killing people very efficiently. Yes, a lot of the anti-gun talking points are like the talking point itself is not true, but the vernacular they're using I think is, and I feel like the way people have been combating that is by trying to avoid it. And I don't think, obviously, with laws going on, I don't understand. It probably does. There's a reason for it. When it's a lawsuit and you've got people that don't really know what they're talking about, trying to appeal to them and make them feel better about what's
Scare
going
people.
on.
It's all about scaring them.
But like, if we're being truthful, yes, this is an assault rifle. It is a semi-automatic version of an M4. It is made to kill people and is made to kill people very efficiently. It has a standard capacity 30-round magazine. These are vernaculars that in my lifetime I would like to take back.
That's high capacity, man. If you need 30 rounds to kill a deer, you're a pretty shitty shooter. I would
Okay.
imagine too. I wasn't old enough maybe to pay attention to all the advertisements, but I would imagine early on they probably thought it was cool to call it an assault rifle because from an advertising standpoint, you might get a lot of cool dudes or younger guys or military people to come in. Hey, come in and buy an assault rifle. It's really cool. And then all of a sudden that got spun into a negative term because you're using it to kill people or whatever. So it's one of those things.
That's one thing I see that like upsets me personally is when manufacturers specifically, they'll go like, oh, it's just a target rifle. And I understand why they're doing it. Like it
Right.
makes sense from a legal perspective. From a moral perspective, they're like, dude,
So, Jeff,
Yes.
to segue or to recap,
Yep.
pot smokers can now buy guns.
Yes.
You can carry concealed if you're 18, 19, 20.
Yes.
And then there's the assault weapons ban is going to the Supreme Court in December,
Yes.
and it'll be heard. And you think it'll be ruled unconstitutional.
Yes. That won't affect us here in Florida, obviously, because we don't have that type of ban. But
So how?
the
So
4 Republicans in California will now be able to go buy there.
is that perhaps why all the states are rushing to ban everything?
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
like-
They see the Supreme Court. Obviously, the liberals hate this Supreme Court because it's clearly come down on a lot of conservative issues. And so they hate this Supreme Court. That's why you hear all the talks about packing the court, changing it, getting rid of it, whatever. Because most of the time, every now and then they'll throw a weird ruling out there that you're like, wait a minute, I thought you'd go the other way. But when it comes to guns, they've been consistently hitting the pro gun side of it. So I think they definitely see this coming. They're trying to get their bans on the books just to prove a point, even though they know it's probably going to get thrown out. And then what you're going to see is them trying all kinds of trickeration, like in New York City when they're...
Is that a word?
Yeah,
Trickeration?
trickeration, yep.
Okay.
Look it up. If, like in New York City, they had a law that said you can't have firearms in New York City, basically, completely. That got shot down. That was one of these rulings that came out, like in Bruin or whatever, that said, no, you can't do that. So then what New York City did was, okay, you can have a firearm, but then they came out with all these lists of places you can't carry a firearm, which was everywhere in the city. Public transportation, outdoor open spaces, private businesses, schools. Like literally the list was everywhere in New York. So they're like, okay, fine. Supreme Court says we have to give you a gun. We'll give you a gun, but you can't carry it anywhere. So then they had to sue and start new lawsuits to do that. So you're going to see these states doing this shit. They're going to call it an assault weapons ban as unconstitutional. Maybe they'll change the language and they're no longer going to call it an assault rifle. They'll call it something else, or they'll change the magazine limits. If they say 10-round magazine ban is unconstitutional, they'll come out with an 11-round magazine ban, or so. Like they're not just going to roll over and go, oh well, the Supreme Court says we can't do this, so we're not going to do it. So they're going to just keep passing all these weird things. They're going to have to get sued, and it's just going to be a never-ending.
So the states care more about. It's interesting to me that these states will pull stuff, but they won't pull stuff for the pot users.
Well, it is ironic that it's usually the lefties that are all pro marijuana, except when it comes to
guns,
marijuana people having guns. It's one of those weird cross sections of, and usually it's the conservative people that don't like marijuana and potheads or whatever, and then they're the ones that are all like, oh, let's all give them guns. So it is, that topic alone was a weird cross references of people. Like you've had people on the right and the left, both Democratic and Republican presidents, saying that they were going to remove marijuana from the Schedule A and all that stuff because it's sort of like a weird cross reference of things.
So presently, for the folks at home, states that ban AR-15s or assault weapons are California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Washington.
Yeah, and then now Virginia did pass their law. It's just under,
but it's on the state.
Injunction, correct?
Yeah,
and that's like 50% of America almost. If you,
population,
population. It's crazy
because it's all the big leftist cities, correct?
How crazy would it be for California to be able to buy ARs again, like real ones?
Yeah. It would be crazy. Like I said, those 4 Republican guys are going to run right to the store to get their ARs.
4 Republicans.
The 4?
Yeah. Those 4 Republicans are going to run right in there and get their ARs.
I'm pretty sure California has a lot of, they do a lot of business. I mean,
wait, could you imagine if like AR pistols without braces and FRTs were available in California?
They're going to find a way around it. I can almost guarantee you. They're going to be like, oh, if it has aluminum, it causes cancer. You can't have it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to, it'll be interesting to see what the aftermath's going to be.
But then, then you really get into some dangerous territory because the Supreme Court is the law of the land.
Correct.
The Supreme Court, they say something, you got to fucking abide by it, or it's tyranny, or it's treason.
It's got to be an interesting situation.
That word really doesn't mean much anymore.
No, it doesn't.
I like to say it,
but that'll be up to California. The good news is we don't have one of those here.
Yeah, but kids can't buy guns.
Correct. Yeah, there's that Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act is still a pain in the ass.
So speaking of which, how do we free the FRTs in Florida? How do we do that?
This process that we're talking about. There has to be a lawsuit. Then you have to get a ruling from a circuit court.
Well, all right,
you have to get a ruling from an appeals court, and then either one from the Supreme Court or an agreement from the Attorney General's office that they're not going to appeal the appellate court, and then it becomes a law of the land. It has to get thrown out legally.
So, all right, let's say I have infinite money, which I don't, and I'm like, gosh darn it, I'm going to become the FRT savior. Yes. What is the first step? Do I just take Luke?
Get arrested.
I take Luke, and Luke gets arrested.
Okay, yes, correct. You have to find somebody who's willing to get arrested.
Okay. Now, there's already been people who've been arrested, though, in Florida.
Then they have to file an appeal.
Don't you think like a gun group would get behind it?
They should, yes. There should be here's what they do. They look for the right case.
Okay.
So this is how we got open carry. There was a fine, upstanding citizen with no criminal history, a good father, had a job or whatever, that literally said, I'm going to be the guinea pig for this. He went out on a street corner, open carried his firearm, called the police himself, and said, come arrest me because I'm open carrying a firearm. They arrested him. He already had lawyers lined up. He had Eric Friday is a lawyer. He does a lot of work for Florida Concealed Carry. He's also a private attorney. Him and I are actually working on a bunch of cases here locally as well. So he already had the money, basically. Either he raised it or through the groups or whatever, and they hired one of the preeminent gun lawyers in America or in Florida. They made sure it was in the correct circuit because it wasn't in Miami, because you're not going to get favorable rulings from courts in Miami. And the whole thing was planned. He got arrested. They filed a motion to dismiss based on unconstitutional. The local judge denied that. He entered a plea to the charges, went on probation, filed his appeal, and then they ended up winning the appeal at the next level. And the whole protest took about 18 months. And he was willing to go through all that, either pay out of his own pocket or, again, get a group or whatever to fund his defense. And the whole thing was planned. That is the smart way to do it. What usually happens is...
How do you feel about working pro bono?
No, so that's not how it works.
Why?
What usually happens is you get somebody who is a 15-time convicted felon selling drugs, gets popped and has an FRT. Nobody's going to take that guy's case on appeal and go through because he's a POS, and they're not going to get any support behind him. So a lot of these laws that you could file motions on to get appeal, to get rulings on, that guy doesn't have any money, number one. No group is going to put their name behind him because he's a piece of shit, and so they don't get appealed that way. So what you would need to do is find somebody,
Luke,
who's willing to run that risk and go through that entire process like I did. You could raise money for his defense. You could have a bucket up on the store. Let's raise some money for the defense. You can talk to people. You can hire me because I can do it. I also, again, I work with Eric Friday, who's a big guy that got the open carry one done, and we could go through that entire process. But I don't work for free, no. Do you work for free? Give me a free gun right now. Exactly.
All the time I work for free.
So it's one of those things where that's the process that has to go through. And it's hard to find people who are willing to risk getting a conviction on their record or possibly going to jail or whatever while the case is pending. Most people, like that guy who was brave enough to do that, most people aren't willing to do that.
So I have a question.
Yes.
What would be the hypothetical sentence for an FRT?
So
someone like me,
Yep.
I have no criminal record.
So, all right. A person who violates this section commits a felony of the third degree. Third degree felonies are punishable by 5 years in prison. Right. So this is why that guy was willing to do it on the open carry, because the open carry was a misdemeanor.
Right. Yeah.
He had no prior criminal history, based on the fact that he called it. The judge knew the whole thing was a setup. So when he gets his sentence, the judge isn't giving that guy a year in the county jail, which is what you can get for a first degree misdemeanor. He got probation. He probably even got a withhold, which means he didn't even have a conviction on his record. So if it had gone south, it wouldn't have ruined his life. Worst case scenario, he has a withhold on a misdemeanor that he can even have that sealed from the public record once his probation is over. So there really wasn't a lot of risk for that guy.
Right.
The FRT statute's a third degree felony.
Right.
So you could be convicted, number one, as a felon, which would fuck up your entire life, especially if you're a gun person.
Right.
And you could technically go to prison for 5 years. So it's not as easy to find somebody who's willing to walk out on the street and do that for an FRT
So
trigger.
we're never going to have these things in Florida.
Wait, but how does
there's going to be somebody in the middle. So there's that guy. There was a guy that was just arrested at a gun show like 4 or 5 months ago. He came from
his
Texas
name was
or whatever
Blue.
and sold it front. So that guy is probably he's a good candidate because he probably isn't a multi-convicted felon and a piece of crap. And he's already been arrested, so he doesn't need to voluntarily go out there and do it. His case is already pending. So ideally, somebody or some organization or whatever should probably get in touch with that guy and say, hey, if we can raise the money for your funds, are you willing to ride us through all the way up? The other thing you got to worry about, though, is you got to remember how prosecutors are and how the criminal justice system works. So you get charged with a felony and you're looking at 5 years in prison. And then the prosecutor comes to you and says, we'll give you a withhold in probation. But if you file a motion to suppress or a motion to dismiss, we're going to revoke that offer and we're going to ask for 5 years in prison. So lots of times people may want to morally go through that process, but again, they don't want to roll the dice and take the risk on it because the state attorney's office is not willing to play ball with them. And then your option is to do the sentencing hearing that we just talked about. And now it's up to whatever the judge wants.
Do you think the sentencing hearing did anything for the guy? He still got 5 years.
Well, yeah, because the offer was 10.
Got it. Okay.
Right. His alternative was to go to trial, which he couldn't because he got caught with the gun.
Yeah.
Or take the 10-year offer, which he didn't want to take. So you go to the third route, which is a sentencing hearing in front of the judge, and he basically got his sentence cut in half. So,
I did a sentencing.
and he already served 3 years because he's been sitting in jail for 3 years.
Oh, Jesus,
So
fuck.
so you can.
How do you get the money to pay you if he's been in jail for 3 years?
People have family members. They have friends. Like most of my money doesn't come from my clients. They come from third parties. Grandma, grandpa, dad, wife, girlfriend, whatever.
You don't care as long as it's green.
Correct. Yeah, I don't care where the money goes. What do I care where the money comes from? So that's what's going to happen for the FRT to become legal in Florida. So somebody's going to have to go through that process.
So how does the
Or a store can do it.
how does Rare Breed say that their FRT is legal in Florida because of their case with the ATF?
Well, you have to explain. I don't know anything about this, so you have to walk me through what it is, and I can give you an opinion on it.
There's a company called Rare Breed
Yeah.
in Florida, and the ATF, like, they fought the ATF for the ability to have an FRT trigger.
Right.
The ruling or the culmination of the case was the ATF didn't legalize FRT triggers. They legalized the Rare Breed FRT trigger. So they said the only one that's legal is this one.
Legal where?
Nationally.
But they can't do that because each state can have their own law. Like,
Okay.
like the ATF can't tell Florida what can be legal or not legal on their statutes. That's up to the Florida legislature to do that.
Okay, so the owner of Rare Breed is a lawyer. He told me at SHOT Show, he's like, no, it's legal in Florida.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other. The way the FRTs work is let's think of it as a bump stock. Okay.
Right.
Right now, bump stocks nationally are legal again because the Supreme Court, again, because they're falling on the pro-Second Amendment side, threw out Trump's ban on bump stocks. So bump stocks are legal nationwide. Guess where they're not legal? Florida. Why? Because we have a specific statute in Florida that says you cannot possess a bump stock in Florida. Just like assault weapons. There's no Florida or federal law about assault weapons ban, but California can have one. So California can still arrest you for it. So it doesn't matter. I don't know why he has a letter from the ATF. The state of Florida says FRTs, essentially, they don't specifically say FRTs in the statute, but based on their definition of what a rapid fire device sort of is, they would be illegal in the state of Florida. So to me, if an ATF tells a guy your FRT is legal nationwide, I don't know what that would have anything to do with the state of Florida because they're illegal here in Florida.
Then how could if the assault weapons ban gets turned or they get proven unconstitutional?
Correct.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
No, because the Supreme Court is the law of the land.
So the Supreme Court
They issue a ruling that says bans on if the Supreme Court issue a ruling that said bans on FRTs are illegal or unconstitutional, then they would be unconstitutional all across America. They didn't say the ban on the bump stock was unconstitutional. Trump passed it with an ATF rule. And what they said was you can't pass it through an ATF rule. That was a violation of the Administration Act. So they threw out his rule. But they didn't throw out state bans on bump stocks.
All right, you're doing.
You got to be a lawyer, right? This is why
you're
people
doing
pay
the
me
thing
big
again.
bucks. Correct. Yeah, I'm putting you down.
Yeah, you're being
Now,
dick.
why does the ATF say what is different about his FRT that would make it legal versus all the other FRTs?
No clue.
Correct. This is why I don't understand. Now, what somebody tried to explain to me, and I don't know if this is true, is that there's a difference between coming into Shark Coast and buying an AR-15 off the shelf with its stock trigger, then buying an FRT trigger and adding it to the gun.
So that's the
Versus
next thing I want to
building
talk
a gun
about.
from
Yeah.
scratch with an FRT trigger as part of its initial build and design. That may be the only loophole that the guy's trying to rely on, is that this isn't an add-on trigger. It's an integral part of the manufacturer design of the gun. And he may have a letter of from ATF that says this is not an add-on trigger. It is, in fact, an integral part of the design of the gun. Therefore, it's not considered an FRT. It may not be saying, I haven't read this letter, but I highly doubt the ATF is going to give anybody a letter that says, this is legal everywhere you go. Please give it to the prosecutor in Sarasota, Florida, and tell them that it's okay. The ATF don't write letters like that. They write advisory letters like we used to see on the bump stocks way back in the day. So the advisory letter may be that it's legal for you to put this in here as a initial manufacturer, and it's the normal function of the gun. It may be something along those lines, which he then believes means that makes it not an FRT pursuant to the Florida statute. But I haven't seen the letter, all full disclosure. I haven't seen the letter. I haven't talked to the guy. I don't know what he's claiming is a loophole. But in Florida right now, FRTs are illegal. And so I don't know how he's claiming his is the only one that's not.
So let's not talk about rare breed, but the law does state, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, if you can't install anything to accelerate the rate of the trigger.
A person may not import into this state or transfer, distribute, sell, keep for sale, offer for sale, possess, or give to another person a bump fire stock. A person who violates this section commits a third degree. As used in this section, the term bump fire stock means a conversion kit, a tool, an accessory, or a device used to alter the rate of fire of a firearm to mimic automatic weapon fire, or which is used to increase the rate of fire to a faster rate than is possible for a person to fire such semi-automatic firearm unassisted by a kit, a tool, an accessory, or a device. So the question is, does that only apply to what you would call aftermarket devices that you put on the backside, or does it apply to devices that are on there?
So how do we find that out?
Somebody has to sue or get arrested, and then you get a ruling from the court.
Luke, we need you, buddy. We need you.
Because the tricky word for me as a lawyer would be, it just says a conversion kit, a tool, an accessory, or a device used to alter the rate of fire of a firearm. It doesn't say added to an existing firearm with the intent to make it fire faster. It's just, to me, it reads as any sort of accessory or device used to alter the rate of fire. Is the trigger, if he's building an FRT trigger and putting it in the gun straight out of the factory, that's not an add-on, but it doesn't say add-on. It just says any device that does that. So could you make an argument? Could some prosecutor out there, somebody make an argument that even though it came originally with the gun, it's still a device used to increase the rate of fire? That's an argument that they could probably make straight face. Now, if I defended the company or the person who got arrested could also make an argument with a straight face that no, it's not, because this envisions a separate entity, a kit, a tool, a device that gets added to the firearm to make it fire faster. This isn't that. This is how the firearm came from the factory. So that would be an interesting legal battle that would literally have to go through the system to get a ruling from a court. And I would not rely on an ATF letter about how a guy manufactures his trigger or his firearm to risk a 5-year prison sentence.
Well, what about, so why can't we? So is there any way to convince the government of Florida to let us manufacture guns with FRT triggers and then sell them out of state? How do we change that?
I mean, you have to lobby like everybody else does.
How do we do that?
Well, you have gun owner groups. Aren't there lobbyists that represent gun stores and gun shops? I mean, it's like everybody else. You got to take them out for lunch. You got to grease the wheels. You got to, play golf with them on Saturdays. It's lobbying like everything else. He's not going to accept a call from me.
Why?
I'm a local celebrity, according to you, not a statewide one. No, that needs the
But
whole act just needs to be thrown. Like the solution is to either get the legislature to throw out that whole act because it's got the red flag law stuff in there. It still has the bans on the 18 and 20-year-olds. It's got the bump fire stock ban in there. They just need to throw that entire act out because it's crap. They're never going to do that. They don't have the balls to do it. It's just never going to happen. So it's going to happen through the courts, individually, sections of that act. Somebody's going to have to appeal the FRT. Somebody's going to appeal the 18 to 20-year-olds like they did on that one. Somebody's going to have to appeal a red flag statute to find that unconstitutional. Like they're just going to have to. It's just going to have to go through that system.
You're doing it again.
Right, I'm being a Debbie Downer, correct.
Debbie Downer.
Research all the candidates that are running for governor and find out which one is running on a platform of repealing the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act.
He's
It
fucking
wasn't the hat. Will.
Yeah,
It wasn't the hat.
He's the nut guy.
it's the fishback guy.
Correct.
He was supposed to come on twice, and he fucking pussed out.
I mean, the issue is a lot of them are people should do their own research, but a lot of them are doing the lip service, as politicians always do. I just got an A rating from the NRA, but I've also never been in public office. I've never really run a business. I don't know what's going on. I'm endorsed by Trump. I'm endorsed by DeSantis. Like, you know, people are just gonna have to figure it out on their own. But I haven't seen any fire for repealing any part of that act. It's just sitting there. Gonna have to go through the courts. Everything's gonna have to come through the courts.
What do you think, Omar?
I was going to ask you the whole thing about rare greed being the only ones that are their FRT is legal. I've heard that from you, but I've only heard it from you. Have you heard that from anybody other than rare greed?
Yes.
Other people have said because it's
the council I talked to today.
the count, but like so you're saying that anybody that has an FRT, which is probably millions of fucking people at this point outside of Florida, if it's not a rare greed FRT, then it's supposed to be illegal?
Yeah.
How does that work? That doesn't
I don't
make
know
any
how that
sense
works
to me.
either.
I've heard rare greed
Right.
claim that.
See, Jeff is very inexpensive to have on the podcast.
Well, I just don't know.
These guys are not.
I'm going to give you the answer that I give. It depends. I don't have all the information. If you lock me in a room for several hours, give me the letter, let me talk to people, interview people, read statutes, I could probably give you a more informed opinion. But right, I don't know why FRTs are not. My understanding is there's no federal ban on FRTs, so I don't know why they would be illegal in any state that doesn't have a specific FRT ban. So I don't know why rare breed would be the only one that's allowed to sell an FRT. Like
Because the
ATF
came in and the ATF came in and said that their trigger was not an FRT, but it was a machine gun, and that's what they fought against. They fought against it being, and then it was ruled that it wasn't a machine gun,
Right.
and then it was ruled that it was legal.
Okay, but they're saying
But
that
only
it's an FRT.
theirs. Yeah,
Right.
only their version
Correct.
of it is
I
legal.
feel like that
Well,
last
but
part's
FRT
added by the rare
well,
breed.
but right, that FRTs by definition are not machine guns. If it's again, you go back to the bump stocks. ATF can issue these opinions on what things are. So what happens is if you're a manufacturer, you have to submit your design to the ATF and have them look it over and test it or whatever and tell you whether they think it's illegal or not. That's what happened with the bump stocks. All those manufacturers sent them all their shit, and then they came out with letters that said, "Oh yeah, it's not a stock. You're good to go." And then the winds changed, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, it is a stock," et cetera, et cetera. It's always one of those things. I'll know it when I see it. So by definition, force reset triggers are not illegal. Could somebody create one that they send it to the ATF and the ATF looks at it and issues a letter that says yours is illegal because we think it's a machine gun? Yeah, because they look at individual products as opposed to like blanket statements, blanket designs. So this guy may have a letter saying his is not a machine gun, it's an FRT, but he doesn't have a letter that says every other FRT on the planet is illegal except for yours. I guarantee you the letter don't say that.
I think it's a judge. It was a judge's ruling.
Well, yeah, maybe it's
Not
probably
not a letter, but
it'd be
it's
an
a-
administrative judge, maybe.
I can get more information.
But it
on
doesn't matter to me. I'm telling you, the statute says you can't have FRTs in Florida. You're going to go to prison for 5 years. So again, roll your dice on it.
You
Luke?
can only buy mine.
Well, that's the thing. They said you could definitely have them in Florida, and they ship them in Florida too. Jeff's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it means nothing to me. I mean, sell them then.
No,
Well, then why are we having this conversation then?
'Cause
I see you want to sell them because
No,
you're
I
looking
mean,
at the dollar signs ringing in your eyeballs. But I'm telling you, Ew, why would you roll your dice on that?
Well, I mean, because I think I wouldn't roll the dice on it, obviously, because certain employees would, like, I'm sure my compliance department would just fucking walk right out. Like, Chris would just walk right out and say, I'm done. I mean, I thought he was going to walk out after we ordered a couple Dracos the other day. But it's economic tyranny.
Well,
How can the rest of the country, how can the rest of the country experience the economic boom from the FRT craze, whether you like it or not? There's an economic boom which it's producing commerce and producing taxes and producing economic growth in the areas which they are permitted. But in Florida just says no, you can't have it, and so Florida says no, we don't want the money. So they'll take the money from gambling, they'll take the money from legal marijuana, but they won't take the FRT money.
Correct.
And that I think is biased. And I think it's wrong according to. I think that government agencies aren't allowed to create rules that prohibit commerce.
Well, it's not a government agency; it was a legislature. It's a law that's on the books.
Debbie Downer.
Right. Government agencies can't. That was the whole reason. That was the whole thing about the bump stop. Like, government agencies can't create laws. But this
but the legislature can?
Yeah. Well, that's literally what the legislature does. Yes. Do we need to do the whole schoolhouse rock? I'm just a bill.
God damn it.
Today I'm just a bill, but today I'm still just a bill. Correct. It went, whether we like it or not, it went through the correct process. There's nothing illegal about how this law came out. It's immoral. We could say that it's crap, it's unconstitutional or whatever, but since we have a 3-tier system, when the legislature does something they're not supposed to, the judge comes in and says, bad legislature, you did that. If the president does something they're not supposed to, the legislature comes in and says, no, bad president, you did it. Like, that's how the system works. So it went through the system. It's a crappy law. The two ways to get it overturned are elect all new legislatures and a governor who are willing to throw the law out because it's crap, or it has to be appealed in a court of competent jurisdiction, Supreme Court of Florida or the Supreme Court of America, whatever, has to rule and say, bad legislature, you shouldn't have passed that law. Like, that's it. Or a revolution, I guess. That's what you always like the third. You always like the third tyranny.
What are you talking about?
Treason option over there, but no. I mean, unfortunately, that's where we're at. Like, that law sucks. Now, but look, as an economic boom, I've experienced a lot of economic boom from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, because I get hired out of red flag law cases all the time. I get hired on people who can't get their concealed carry permits all the time. So where's my economic boom? You make all this shit legal. Where's my money?
Divorce court.
Screw that. I'd rather deal with the criminals with their firearms.
What, is divorce court bad?
Oh, it's awful. My criminals are way nicer than my married divorcees. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second.
I get somebody to take 5 years in prison faster than I can get them to give an extra $100 in alimony. Or give up an overnight visitation. Like, it's ridiculous. I've had trials over parrots, fishing poles, Guinness cups. Guinness cups. That bitch had the Guinness cups and wouldn't give them back to me, and she said, I don't have the Guinness cups. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Luke, how is your cup collection going?
I got a couple cups, but
do you think she might take them from you one day?
Yeah.
No.
What's her name? Is her name Bella?
Make sure you lock them up.
What's her name?
That's Kyle's.
I thought they might have the same name.
No.
Her
name's not important.
Do we want to bring that up in the podcast, or are we going to wait until Kyle's here? We fucking hired Kyle Rittenhouse to.
Well, it's out now. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
I guess you could edit that out later.
No, I mean we've had him like in the bathroom videos.
Yeah. Well, it's known. I already told you it's known on the social. Like, I knew about it before you even told me. It was out there.
How'd you hear?
Somebody posted on one of the Facebook groups.
Oh, really?
Hey, it was weird today. I went into Shark Coast Tactical, and I saw Kyle Rittenhouse was working. And then there were comments, oh, yeah, I heard about that. You didn't know that? So, no, I learned about that before you even told me.
Nice.
Yep. It was just out there.
It's kind of a surreal thing, right?
It is,
yeah,
right.
So,
I didn't have that on my bingo card for Sarasota County, for sure.
Neither did I. Like, he just kind of,
Yeah.
It's a. Explain what were you saying back there, Luke?
It's like I remember 2021 sitting in the back when the shop was over there, and like us all like celebrating when he got acquitted.
Yeah. Everybody
and,
was, yeah. Same.
It was like, and it was crazy, and now he's just walking around.
Walking around,
walking around, petting the dogs,
selling stuff, yeah.
Selling stuff.
I imagine it's a little surreal, yeah.
It's a little weird.
Well, good for him.
And
good for you guys.
I love seeing customers like look on their face when they realize it.
Yeah.
Like,
Or then they just don't get it.
yeah.
Right.
Like so Vadim, you don't know Vadim, but Vadim is a member of our podcast. He didn't believe him.
Yeah.
And then he said, pull out your license. And he pulled out his license.
believe
And
it
he's
was
like,
him?
I still don't believe you.
He's an impersonator.
Yeah.
Really?
Out of
Yeah.
all the people you
Yeah.
can walk around and impersonate, I'm not sure that would be on the top of my list.
On Saturday, a customer that comes in, not super regularly, but sometimes, he came in and then he's like, "Oh, are you new here?" And Kyle was like, "Yeah, I'm new." And then someone came by and called him like Kyle Rittenhouse, and he's like, "Why'd that guy call you Kyle Rittenhouse?" And he's like,
Oh, that's my name.
"He's like, oh, really?"
So Vadim believes in the swamp ape, but not
Yeah.
Yeah, he believes in the swamp ape, but not calories.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
But we didn't
Good
get
for
like
you.
there was no protests.
No.
No, nothing.
Well, because nobody. I mean, those people don't know, and those people won't care.
We had the
Yeah.
one little
Yeah.
email. We had the
You
email.
got the email.
Oh yeah, we got emails.
Oh, you got an email?
We got some hate emails.
Fuck
Yeah,
those people.
but it's like just normal fucking no big deal.
No, it wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
Why do you think that? Because we're a conservative.
Correct.
place?
It's the where you're at. Number one, he's in this store. If he tried to get a job at somewhere else, it may be a different issue. But in this store, he's going to be welcome. The people that come in here are going to welcome him. And then Sarasota is generally a conservative area. And I think most people wouldn't recognize him from Adam. You bump into him on the street, and they're not going to remember who the guy is. They got other shit to protest around here.
But there is a large group of Democrats on Facebook.
Well, there are.
There's a huge
but-
like Sarasota liberal group on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't think that's not something that's currently on their radar. They're more worried about all the other crap that's going on. They hate Trump right now. They're
Okay.
not worried about him.
Shit.
Mhm.
I was hoping to get on top of the roof and shoot the fucking flashbangs.
You could
This smoke launcher things.
Yeah, the smoke launcher things.
you could put it on the sign out there.
Well, that's the other thing is I don't know. It's in the interwebs, but I saw it on the gun sites. If they're not on the gun sites, they're not going to know.
Yeah, let's not.
Like
put
there
it
wasn't
on
a
the-
newspaper article or anything.
Let's
like
not put it
that.
out.
Right.
We need a salesperson.
Yeah.
Like we needed one and he applied.
Good as anybody else.
Good. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like the first day, and then I had to talk with him. I'm like, hey man, I don't give a fuck if you're Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, I need you to sell guns
Right. Yeah.
and do
right.
well.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Keep moving, and he's been a fine kid.
Excellent.
So go over the exact specifications of having a home range.
There aren't any.
Oh no. So
You mean for private or commercial?
private.
There aren't any.
What do you mean there aren't any?
There's no requirement to be this tall, this wide, this type of backstop. There's no requirement for a home range.
I thought we talked about it before that if it was a certain amount of feet off the road,
Mm-mm.
and
Not with me.
yes, with you.
No, I think you're
I thought you said
mistaken.
you need at least 1 acre or something like that.
No, that's for agricultural stuff.
Motherfucker, no. Come on. That's not
Okay.
what you said. All right. So you're not allowed to have a range in your town or your property in Florida?
You are. My point is there's no requirements for how you build your range. I'm not saying you can't have a range. There's no statute that says if you're going to have a range on your property, a private range, not a commercial one, a private range, that it has to be built to NRA standards or this. There's nothing about that. There's no requirement for how you build your range.
Okay. So
Anybody can have a range on their property.
Okay.
The only requirement is that you don't operate your gun negligently and recklessly on your property.
Okay, so let's back up. So I have some acreage in out east, and
Sure.
and I built a home, or contractors built a home range for us,
Mm-hmm.
and we built it with the intention of filming out there.
Mm-hmm.
So what could shut it down?
If you negligently or recklessly use the firearm on the property, let's say somebody shoots a bullet and it goes out of your property and through the door of your neighbor 2 acres away.
Okay,
That's it.
that's it.
Correct.
So what
As
about
long as you're not charging people to use it.
what
then
about
that's fine.
noise ordinance?
No, so private ranges are exempted from noise ordinances.
Where do they say that at?
It's just in the statute about where you can have it on your thing. There's no
I thought you said
restriction
there's no
on it.
statute.
Correct. Because there is no statute saying it. So if there's no statute saying it, that means it doesn't exist. So Commercial. The only difference are commercial ranges. If you're going to charge people to come out to your range for whatever reason, then you are subjected to all your county regulations when it comes to size, zoning, noise ordinances, all those sort of things like that. But your home private range, there is no statute in Florida that says if you're going to build a private range on your property, it has to meet these specifications and it is subjected to these rules and regulations. So it doesn't exist. So you are free to shoot on your property.
So could I essentially build a berm in my garage and shoot it in there?
Yes. You can do it in your backyard. You don't even have to have a berm. You can go do yard pops into the ground in your backyard as long as it's not recklessly or dangerous.
But you represented somebody for doing yard pops, right?
Correct.
Okay. So then what you're saying,
the case got dismissed.
How much did that cost?
Whatever my fee was.
How much is your fee?
I'm not going to disclose that. It all depends on each case and each person.
Oh, okay.
So the statute says, again, always go to the statute.
I thought you said there wasn't a statute.
I'm talking about the criminal statute that will get you charged for yard pops in your yard. Okay. Any person who knowingly discharges a firearm in any public place or on the right of way of any paved public road, highway, or street, who knowingly discharges any firearm over the right of way of any paved public road, highway, or street, or over any occupied premises, or who recklessly or negligently discharges a firearm outdoors on any property used primarily as the site of a dwelling as defined in 776.013, or zoned exclusively for residential use, commits a misdemeanor of the first degree. So the reverse reading of that is you can fire a firearm on your property if it's your home, used primarily as a site of a dwelling, as long as it's not recklessly or negligently. So the argument in the problem that woman had in that case is she was having an argument with her neighbors. They were out in front of her house cussing and yelling at her or whatever. So she came out and fired a couple of rounds in the ground to basically say, get the fuck away from my property. When you do that, the cops are probably going to arrest you, and they charge her under that statute that said she negligently and recklessly discharged her firearm. My job as the attorney was to say it's not negligent or reckless because there were people there, but they were standing X amount of feet away. It went into the grass. It didn't go into concrete or metal where that could possibly cause a ricochet. Like, it's all fact specific.
And you got her off?
Correct.
Whoa.
So the issue is there's no requirements for how you build it. So the answer to your question is yes. You can put a berm in your garage and shoot it. You can put a berm in your backyard and shoot it. You can go fire rounds into the grass in your backyard. As long as you don't do it in a reckless or endangering manner. That is going to be subject to law enforcement, just like everything else is subject to law enforcement. So you have an asshole neighbor. I'm living in Lakewood Ranch. I'm certain if I go out in my backyard and start firing rounds in the grass, somebody's going to call the cops and they're going to come out. I'm hopefully able to explain to them, look, here's a statute that says I can do that, so get off my property. But that doesn't mean that cop who's there that day is going to say, oh, yeah, you're right. Have a nice day, Mr. Young. They might say, well, I think it's negligent because you got neighbors over here. There could be pipes under who the fuck knows what they're going to say. And so it's up to that interpretation of the cop. Your situation is you got an acreage out in middle of nowhere or whatever. You got lots of property around you. Unless you sail one over a berm or you got drunk friends, this is where the negligent and endangering one's in. You're all out there drinking beers one night, firing rounds, and one of them goes the wrong direction off of your property, then you could get charged with that statute. You're not going to get charged with not having the proper height on your berm. You're going to get charged with recklessly discharging your firearm on your property. That's the only requirement.
So you don't have any instances where in your legal career where someone had a home range out east, of course, or something, and the neighborhood got together and said, fuck this guy, and shut the range down?
Not shut down. I have had represented people that have been sued by other neighborhoods, but only because they claim a round left the range.
Okay, let's talk about that. What happened?
So clients have a range on their property.
Okay.
Property is completely empty. All around them, nothing but woods. Neo community rolls in just like they always do and knock down all the woods and slap up a 1,000 houses now next to this person's property. They keep using the range. Somebody who lives in one of those houses makes an allegation that a bullet comes through their side of their house and puts a hole in their house. They call the cops. Cops go out there. Clients say, it wasn't our bullet. We weren't shooting that day. It's not us. I don't know what you're talking about. No criminal charges. The homeowner, probably backed by other people who live in the Neo community homes, hires a law firm to sue the neighbor for negligent discharge and file for an injunction, a civil injunction, not through criminal courts, preventing him from using his range because it's unsafe. Then it becomes a lawsuit like any other civil lawsuit. You hire your own attorney, you file for discovery, you set depositions or whatever, and then you go in front of a judge, and a judge decides what to do with it. Now, that case, they just resolved it. I can't go into details why or whatever, but it was there came an agreement to where the lawsuit was dropped in exchange for some things that the person did with their berm or whatever. And so there was a negotiation that reached a settlement in that case. We never went in front of a judge. But people can always sue their neighbors for whatever they want. It's it's America. You can sue anybody for whatever you want. So could you get neighbors that sue you? Of course.
Okay. So
if I don't know why you'd lose.
So if one of my neighbors wants to sue me,
right,
they have to sue me, and then I have to hire counsel to fight it.
Correct.
What are ways to prevent them winning?
Just don't negligently or endangeringly discharge your stuff. Like, again, there's no requirement. So in that particular case, the only reason they had any sort of standing was because their allegation that the bullet left the property and went into their house. And they hired a freaking expert who came in and took pictures and angles or whatever, and were like, oh, it had to have come from that direction. So they had some basis for it. But if the bullet had not done that, those neighbors couldn't just file a lawsuit that says, we don't like the fact that the guy has a gun range. They wouldn't have any standing. What you do is you file a motion to dismiss and say there's no case here. There's no cause of action is what it would be. They had a cause of action because their position was a bullet left the property and entered their house, so that made them plaintiffs in the case. Had that never happened, there wouldn't have been a lawsuit. So your neighbors can't just file a lawsuit because they say, I don't like guns and that guy has a gun range, shut it down. It'll get thrown out on a motion to dismiss immediately because there's no cause of action or no grounds for that. What you can do is make sure that your bullets don't leave your property and go into anybody's property to give them a cause of action in order to file a lawsuit. So you should, if you're going to have a range on your property, it should be built the best that it can be built. It should be the highest it can be. It should be the thickest it should be, most safest, whatever. Like anything you can do to make sure that rounds don't leave your property, you need to do that. But I believe that's literally the only way that you could ever get a cause of action from somebody else. They couldn't do it because the noise is too loud. Because again, like that's not how it works. There's no statute or whatever that requires that. They can't do it because they just don't like guns or whatever. They have to become a specific cause of action plaintiff somehow. Now, again, those are all private ranges. If it's a commercial range, it's a different issue. You're subject to all that. I have had gun ranges that opened up in neighborhoods, and they were sued by the neighborhood because they said you're too loud, you're violating the noise, and they had to add extra insulation or padding or whatever to do all that.
Can you talk
kind of
about that?
Stuff. So I'm just telling you that's what it is.
Okay.
They actually didn't get sued. That was the county telling them you're too loud. So they slapped them with like a violation of the noise ordinance. The settlement there was they just added more stuff to that property to the range to make the noise go down, and then it got to a point where the county said, "Okay, you're not violating anymore," and the petition got dismissed.
Okay, so what about horses?
Are they too loud? What do you mean?
I mean, there's a horse.
I'm not
farm.
a horse lawyer. I'm not Manasota horse lawyer, so I can't give any horse laws.
It's just so.
You mean if you shoot a neighbor's horse by accident? I mean, you're gonna get sued. Yeah.
I don't know, like the horse doesn't lay eggs or something. I have horses like
they're mammals. They don't lay eggs.
Well, there's I'm being facetious. Like
Yeah.
there's a horse farm next to, or there's a horse like rescue.
Okay.
Next to where I am, and then also like next to the other side, there's a guy who says he's very upset because I built the berm.
So
where he wanted to build his house.
Oh well, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, it's on your property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
so he can bitch about all he wants.
Because he said
a personal thing.
because this dude came over and was like, I wanted to build my house right where you have your berm, like right.
Sure, on the other side. So now
the
he
other
doesn't want
side.
to build there because he's afraid the bullets are going to come through his house or whatever. Yeah,
Well, no,
or it's an eyesore, whatever.
something like that.
Sure,
Yeah. So
yeah.
he said, so he was
Oh,
kind of
tough shit.
he was kind of saying, you should move your berm
Right.
closer to the road, and it's already built. And
Yeah,
I
mean, but if it's on your property, there's nothing you can do about it. So you're
Nothing.
fine with that. No.
okay.
Now, if you're talking about if a guy owns a bunch of horses and I guess he's complaining that the bullet noises probably spook his horses or
Yeah.
whatever, then again, I don't know what the cause of action would be because
When you
what
say
are the
cause of
damages
action,
or
what does
whatever?
that mean?
Well, in order to sue somebody, there has to be a reason to sue. Like I can't just sue him because I don't like his hat. There are
Why
certain
not?
causes of action such as negligence, theft, infliction of emotional distress, personal injury. A cause of action is literally what the reason is you're suing somebody, and there are limited causes of action in civil procedure, et cetera, et cetera. So he has to have some sort of a cause of action.
Okay.
Could he claim that it's too loud, that it's spooking his horses, therefore he has a cause of action? I mean, theoretically, I guess he could file a lawsuit, but I just don't know why that would exist because, again, you're not breaking any laws, you're not doing anything wrong. He could have the same complaint if somebody had a bulldozer in their driveway or they like to play drums at night or whatever. Like, that's not how it works.
What do you think, Lick?
Well,
Do you think I'm in danger?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's your property. You're not running a commercial range, and it's still pretty far. Like, even where those horses are, I mean, when you're shooting, it's still not that loud. Like,
Well,
you're
again,
shooting
where's
away
his
from
damage?
them,
Like, you also have to have
and-
damages. It's not just a lawsuit. You have to have
Right.
damages. What are his damages? His horses don't get as much sleep as they used to. Like I don't know what would be. I don't know what he would be able to argue. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
But you got no requirements. Nothing.
Jeff, do you know about the Duke and Ashley case?
Doesn't sound like it. What is it about?
Gun tuber who used to be a sapper. Feds arrested him for explosives charges or teaching how to manufacture explosives or whatever. The big thing in the gun sphere about people getting behind him, and it's one of those cases where the feds just come down and just absolutely fuck somebody over for
Right.
something that's publicly available information.
Right. They're trying to prove a point or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
And that's the First Amendment thing too, in addition to the Second Amendment stuff.
Well, so where is that case, Omar?
I don't know where it's out of, but Dugan Ashley was a YouTuber that I would watch too. He took a big hiatus, and when he came back, he started making educational content on explosives. Again, everything he covers is you can Google it, and it's
Sure.
the first thing that pops up. Feds came down, arrested him. They're charging him trying to send him to prison for 10 years or whatever. Guy's a father, a husband. Bunch of people are thankfully getting behind that and supporting it. I just wanted to see if you had any opinions.
I mean, to me, that'd be the First Amendment. You could do whatever you want. I mean, those things are always. People can say whatever they want. It's just that the standard has always been: does it actually incite violence?
They claimed it does because they
Of course
found
they're gonna claim
one
that.
guy.
That's why they charged him. Yeah.
They had one weird brown guy who apparently made the explosives and then tried to use them, but they didn't work. And they were saying that Dugan's videos were the reason why he made them, so they're trying to charge him on that. But the whole thing is,
Yeah, that's
BS.
just what they do.
yeah,
If that's the case, they could arrest all the Democrats for calling Trump a Nazi for 10 years, and
Yeah.
people keep trying to kill him. But that's neither here nor there.
Now, there's a big conspiracy that rare breed triggers is in cahoots with the ATF.
Right,
is
that
that-
they're going to sell them to people in Florida, and then they're going to come arrest all the people in Florida who have them? What do you mean?
No. So rare part of the conditioning was rare breed is required to protect their patent and go after anybody who infringes upon it. And so there's I'm not sure exactly, but there's many people who are being sued by rare breed for making FRT triggers. The gun community thinks that
Right. They're in cahoots. It's a monopoly style system. The ATF said, hey, we'll approve yours if you help us shut down all the others.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, that sounds good to me because then we're the only people who can sell them. We'll make more money, get rid of our competition. Yeah.
So
I don't
do you think that a company would really do that?
Oh, I could definitely see companies wanting to do that kind of stuff. Sure.
Is
Really?
that legal? ATF can do something like that?
No, it's not because it's. I mean, it's corporatism or whatever you want to call it, but.
So did local celebrity Wick, my name's Wick, but not Wick, did he reach out to you and obtain you as counsel?
Mm-mm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know he is. I've met him.
Do you know he's being sued by Rare Breed?
Only because you told me, I think, last week when we were talking about last week's show.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he has not. Okay. I wouldn't be able to confirm or deny whether he did anyway, but I'm telling you, he has not. I don't know anything about it.
And what
I know who he is. I've met him a couple times, yeah.
And what about the trans self-defense shooting that went on? Do you know anything about that?
No.
Luke? Omar?
Yeah, I know about it.
Some transgender shot somebody?
I don't think he shot at all.
He just pointed the gun.
He pointed
He
the
or
gun at
she?
someone's face.
They?
That's a sensitive, sore subject at the moment. Yeah, it's claiming self-defense over words.
Luke, bring it up.
So, in
No,
the sense
Luke-
of, were they was somebody calling the transgender person names because they were a transgender person and so they pulled their gun out?
Yes. And then
And she chased him.
This person, they, was at a bar that had a bunch of gay pride flags and stuff.
Sure.
And they were sitting outside, and some guys were walking on the other side of the street, walking by, and they just started, saying stuff.
Sure.
So this person got up.
What were they saying? Is there video of it?
Stuff.
There's video. There's no sound, though.
Okay.
She got up, crossed the street to confront these guys. The guy pushed her because she came up to him with her hand like in a bag. He just pushed her and kept walking. And while she's on the ground, he pushes her back. She's on the ground. She pulls a gun out, racks it, and points it at his face. And the dude just keeps walking. Like it seems like he didn't even realize it.
Right.
And then she was arrested for,
What kind of gun was it?
Right. Aggravated assault.
yeah. It was, I don't know.
First off, you said she pulled out and racked the slide, so she's carrying with an empty chamber?
Yeah.
Well, that's dumb number one, obviously.
Well, the Israelis do it.
Yeah.
And she had it at a bar?
And a bar, yeah. And, well, the big thing is now, like, the left
Is
is
this in
saying...
Florida or somewhere else?
No, I think it was, like, Montana or Wyoming.
You might be able to have it in a bar in Montana. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but the left is saying, like, look, just because it's a trans person, they're not getting their stand your ground,
Sure.
protection. And, like, you watch the video, and it's clearly, like...
Right. No.
You don't get to go across
Correct.
the street to confront
Doesn't matter
somebody.
whether you're trans or not.
Right, yeah.
That's not how stand your ground works. And I don't even know if they have stand your ground in whatever this state is. That's a very specific statute. People throw it out as like a general self-defense term, but stand your ground is a completely different concept than general self-defense. And so she's going to run into that same problem that anybody does with self-defense. That sounds just like that one that we had in Tampa where the guy was in the parking lot and the dude took his handicap spot and he pushed him to the ground, and then he shot the guy in the back as he turned away. Guess what? That guy got convicted and got like 25 years in prison. So,
oh, wow.
And he was a white guy, straight white guy, as far as I know. So, I mean, every case is different, obviously, as the facts go, but you can never pull a gun over words. And then if you can ever point a gun at somebody who's walking away, you have to be an imminent. Well, again, this is Florida. You have to be an imminent fear of death or great bodily harm. It's all going to come down to whatever the statute for self-defense is in whatever state she is and what the language is. But they're definitely not saying because you're trans, you don't get to charge self-defense. All of my clients get arrested, and they all claim self-defense, but the reason they're my clients is because they all got arrested.
Right.
So you're always going to get arrested. Doesn't matter. So, I mean, that's my take on that. I don't know much about it, but that's my take on that. Now, trans people should be able to exercise self-defense just like non-trans people, but you have to exercise it in the correct way. And you should carry it around the chamber. I don't know why you're fucking walking around the chamber.
Hey, Omar, can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
So, Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
Right. So, he famously made comments about the 365 and 6 hour and like it not working.
Right. Aren't they suing him for defamation?
I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. I thought I saw something about that. They might.
But do you think that Sean Strickland was doing it for attention?
No, man.
Well, then why didn't he talk about the other issues SIG has with their handguns?
Because this is the one that was affecting him currently at this moment.
Okay.
That would be like,
So you don't think you think that it was you don't think it was like clickbait?
No, man. I mean, okay. Am I allowed to talk about 6 hour? Honestly, I never do because it hurts
Not really.
sales or what. Okay, yeah,
Right.
great.
Yeah. Wrong place.
Wrong place.
I guess,
Anyways, yeah, no. The guns are something affected him directly, and he made a video responding to it directly. That would be like me asking you, well, you're talking about FRTs. Why aren't you talking about something else that the government does that is bad? This is
Right.
the thing that's on hand that happened to him very recently, and he's sharing his experience and calling the company a piece of shit for creating a gun that's manufactured to fail. Anyways.
Yeah, if it's his personal experience or personal opinion, he can talk about it whatever he wants, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's clickbait or not. It might be.
I'm sorry, Omar. Maybe someday.
But did he get?
Yeah, it's great, man. It's awesome. Yeah, no, buy 6 Hour, great company. Yeah, support him. Whatever. I fucking hate him, dude. I fucking
We
hate him.
figured that out.
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
We figured that out. That's why you don't sell the cig. You're in the Glock side of the store, not the cig side of the store.
It's not even that anymore. That was like how it started. It's just buy anything else. I'd be okay with a CZ at this point.
Omar, like, let's say the Silencer Shop Foundation wins its injunction. What do you think? Like, what do you think the gun industry is going to do?
Probably the same thing that happened January 1st. There's going to be more sales. I mean, if you're talking about in the context that it applies nationwide, it's a nationwide injunction. And short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and silencers no longer need to abide by NFA rulings, whatever. It's just going to be another rush.
Your door's going to be knocked down, yeah.
It's
If the
gonna
call goes out that you can just go to any store and buy a suppressor or a short barrel rifle and not have to do anything with the ATF and walk out of the store with it that day, you're going to be sold out in like an hour.
There's going to be a rush on them. All the people that have been wanting one but not having to go onto the illegal registry that the ATF keeps on all NFA items are going to come in and buy them. A lot of people are just going to buy them since it's less paperwork. It's going to be a big rush on them, and then it'll slowly fade away, and then before you know it, it's just another gun on the wall. I feel like a lot of the allure of short guns comes from them being more difficult to obtain. Same with
Prohibited,
silencers. A lot of the allure comes from it being more difficult. If it does become that it's just another firearm, I think there will be a huge rush at the start, and then probably eventually. I don't know about SBRs, because SBRs, I still think 11.5 is the only real barrel length. But like eventually you'll start seeing less allure around silencers, and especially SBSs, I think. Short-barreled shotguns, I think, are mainly cool because you're not allowed to have them. If you're allowed to have them within a couple years, those sales will go down even below what they are right now, in my opinion.
You hate them shotguns.
No, I never said that.
Yeah, but short barrel shotguns are fucking cool.
Sure.
I don't think they're just cool because they look cool and they
Right,
feel
they look cool. I don't know how practical they be. They look cool.
There's a lot of things on the wall that look cool. Doesn't mean people come in droves buying them, you know.
Okay.
No, I mean the whole thing about if everything is a firearm, the biggest change in the industry that I will see is honestly a lot less. It's kind of already happening, but you won't be able to claim as many things anymore. Right now, I feel like a lot of the people making NFA items are able to make a lot of claims and kind of get away with it because
Such as?
this is the single quietest silencer ever made. For example, I'm not mentioning anybody specifically. Claims like that people may have been able to get away with because, you know, inherently it's more difficult to obtain one. Those will all go out the window. Hopefully the industry looks a little bit honest after the fact. You know, you actually have to stand up. If you can walk away with a cam the same day you buy it, you're not going to be able to say as many things about it that aren't true.
You think suppressor sales would slow down though?
No,
if
no,
that
I
injunction went through.
I
I
think-
mean, after a while.
After a while, definitely compared to the rush, I think silencers and SBRs would still be more than what they are now. I think SBS sales would realistically go down even
I
less
would
than what
agree
they
with
are
like
now.
SBRs, SBSs. Yeah, at first everyone would rush to them, and then it's just another gun. I don't think suppressors would teeter off. New ones are always coming out. They're cool because they make things quiet. They'll be really cool on pictures and Instagram and things like
Well,
that.
my main thing is like everybody that wants one that bad will have gotten one
right.
as soon as it goes
The point
into
is
effect.
then you can just get whenever you want, so there's no rush to go get
Yeah.
one. It's like
But
when the
there's a lot
Glock
of
comes
people
out with
that-
a new gun, everybody buys it, but then eventually nobody comes and buys it because everybody who wants one has one, and then
Correct.
they're just sitting
But
there.
there's
Maybe
a lot
you
of
get a
people
new
that
suppressor
want
every now
them
and then.
but don't want to be on a registry.
Correct. So at the
Correct.
beginning,
Now
there'd
all
be a
those people
huge
just-
rush.
Sure.
All those people would buy them, and
You'll
now they
buy
have
more.
what?
You'll buy more.
No, I won't.
No?
Because I have all the silencers I want. If something really cool and new comes out, I'll buy that.
Just like guns, yeah.
But again, just like guns, just because there's new people coming in and buying them doesn't mean that everybody that already has a silencer continuously buys suppressors like it's a consumable thing. I think as soon as that statute goes into effect, or what it's not, I don't think it's a statute.
Gets thrown out, right?
As soon as that gets thrown out, and you can walk away with a can the same day you buy them, the first year probably you'll see an enormous uptick in sales, and then it'll slowly start bleeding off as everybody that wanted to get one has one, and now the sales are just new gun buyers or people buying the cool stuff that comes out. The main rush, I think, will be done and over with pretty fast.
Really?
I'd be curious to see if suppressors would even need a background check because they're not a firearm. They're an accessory. Just
Say technically they're a
operating off of
firearm.
that, so
Congress has defined them as a firearm.
well, but if they find the NFA Act unconstitutional, I don't know why they would be defined as a firearm either. So I don't
you
know.
think they could throw the definition away as well?
I mean,
That'd be
it depends
cool.
on how far the ruling goes.
That would be really cool if you
I don't
could
know
just,
why you would need a background check for suppressor. It's not a firearm.
Yeah, it's a tube.
Yeah, it's too.
Like it's no more firearm than a stock is, or the trigger, or anything
Sure,
else.
yeah.
It's an
Isn't it-
accessory that goes on your firearm.
That's a funny point. You can fire a Glock slide without a frame. You can take a Glock slide, you can throw a round in it, you can pull back on the little striker and then let go, and the gun it will fire. So the slide, not a firearm. You can have it shipped to your door, not serialized, not a Glock slide is not considered a firearm, but a tube is.
Yeah.
A tube that no matter what you do cannot fire a projectile.
Right.
Can you imagine at
It's
SHOT Show
accessory. 2027
if the assault weapons bans get thrown out and
The
suppressors
NFA Act
are
is
off
thrown
the
out,
NFA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
like how chaotic? Like, whoa, what do you think of that?
They would have there'd be an inventory shortage pretty
Maybe.
early on, and then they'd catch up.
People said that about January 1st as well, and it never happened.
Never happened.
Like, I don't think the inventory shortage. Realistically, I don't think there is really a big.
We got
I
all
mean-
these new companies that threw suppressors into the game, and everyone's keep innovating. That's why I don't
That's
think
true,
it'll really
too.
die off.
Well,
New suppressor, new technology for that is always coming.
what I see is that if there is going to be a shortage, it's going to be with the accessories that go along with them. Because that's what happened January 1st is like you could still buy cans from every company. Any can you were looking for, realistically, you could find. You could not find the specific muzzle device you need for your specific gun and the specific hub mount. So I think those like more overlooked things might be less.
What about if material though?
What about material?
So there's a shortage of material.
Of
make
like tungsten, we're not having a shortage of aluminum.
Oh yeah, there is.
There's no aluminum. There's an aluminum shortage, you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No,
there actually is. Because I seen something about even outside of guns, Ford making their F-150, and they're talking about there's not as many, and they're taking another truck to take the aluminum from that truck to make F-150.
Yeah, so steel, aluminum, the components need it too. I just talked to a suppressor company at length the other day, and we sat for a couple hours.
I know
and talked.
TI powder is
Aluminum's definitely one. He's telling the truth.
Aluminum, steel.
aluminum and steel.
Yeah, steel's hard
Well,
to find.
That's going to affect a lot more than fucking silencers.
Because you can't find like
Is it because of the tariffs or something? They're not.
yeah,
shipping
like
as
you
many?
can't you because we get a lot of our steel from China,
Sure.
and like you get steel, and the guy was talking about getting steel from Mexico, and will the steel be as good as the steel from China or the steel from America? But like, there's definitely so I was talking to a suppressor company and like we won't have the material to make enough.
I don't know if I believe that, man, because I feel like if you've gotten to the point that there's not enough material to make silencers, what the fuck are they making cars and buildings out of? Like, there's a lot. We're talking about very common resources. It's no longer like titanium powder and Inconel powder. Those I understand. Evan had told me about titanium powder being harder to get because of the tariffs from Canada.
This guy I was talking to, his son, like when he first started making suppressors, 13 years ago, he had 2 suppliers. Now he's got 8. And his son's only job is just to find the material to make the components.
My theory on that and my take is if we get to the point where aluminum and steel are so hard to find that they can't make suppressors out of them, we'll be seeing a lot more bigger collapse of society than suppressors. Like,
Well,
if they're not able to make buildings and cars and
Something. I mean, like
receivers,
what definitely is like material was a problem all year long with ARs too. Like you would see so many more ARs built if there was enough aluminum to make the lowers.
See, again,
like
aluminum
lower-
is used in fucking everything. Like, every single thing made uses aluminum in it.
Sorry, it might not be availability. It might just be price. Like Well, I mean, that's
No, it's availability. Like we couldn't get lowers for like we did, but we had to like instead of having one company make our lowers, we have like 3 companies make our lowers, and they still couldn't keep up.
It's definitely a shortage, guys. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, but like, how are cars being made?
I just gave an example of a car company talking about they're not going to have their number 1 selling pickup truck in America to make as many as they normally do. And they're talking about maybe taking some of their aluminum from 450s and 350s, making less of those so they can keep kicking out F-150, where they make all their money because of an aluminum shortage that he just brought up.
How many cans do you think you can make out of one Ford F-150?
Yeah, that
That's a lot of cans.
That would be, but it's going to another company.
Yeah,
Maybe
aluminum and
aluminum
steel.
goes somewhere we need it. No, in our day-to-day life more.
I understand on paper there might be less now. I don't know if like until you start genuinely seeing things not being built because of it, I don't think it's really a definitionally, yes, it is a shortage. There's less of it, but in a way of a shortage, like we don't have the material to make lower receivers. I feel like you'd see a lot worse things start happening before you even hear about how it affects the gun industry.
The U.S. aluminum market is facing severe supply tightness and surging prices driven by a 50% tariff on imports, disruptions in Middle Eastern shipping and smelters from the Iran war, and high demand from electric vehicles and AI data center builds out.
There it is.
Oh yeah, they got to use all the aluminum for the AI data centers. I forgot about that. That's great.
Great.
All in, U.S. transaction prices and regional premiums have climbed to record highs, impacting automakers, packaging, and construction.
It is plausible that the suppressor market will outweigh the material.
Doubt it. Me personally, I don't have any more information. You have more information than I do. I personally think if we get to the point where they can't fucking make tubes anymore, we're going to see like buildings crumbling down at that point. That's how I see it.
No, I think they'll make building buildings a more
Priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like you can make a silencer out of
I don't know.
aluminum, steel,
buildings in New
Inconel,
York fall out of
titanium, Haynes. There's all of these materials that
Sand
aren't-
traps, nobody said that.
they're not suppressor specific parts. They're like super alloys used everywhere. I don't think it's feasible that we run out of all of the you might see like the thing that I see as plausible is like you might see less titanium powder, so companies that would usually do titanium cans start making a line of Inconel cans, and those are the only ones you can find in stock. Or maybe with steel, companies that are usually printing cans, maybe they make a run of machine cans, and those are the only ones you can find or whatever. I don't think this seems like another one of those January 1st things like, oh, what if we run out of aluminum?
We're not saying we're running out. It's in the shortage is low, and it might be allocated to other things that are more important in life. It's not going to run out. No one said that.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. When you say shortage, I think like you can't fucking find it.
No.
or that it becomes too expensive to where
Yeah.
you can't turn a profit on it. So
That's
I'm
the
not
issue.
gonna.
They got to raise the prices of the
You know.
suppressors because now the aluminum is more expensive. So then the demand for suppressors goes down.
Or
It's all-
steel.
I stuck on aluminum,
Supply
but
thing.
aluminum is such a very small use. Realistically, like modern cans are titanium powder or Inconel powder or Haynes that you need. And I know titanium powder is in short supply. I don't know about Inconel or Haynes though.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, worst case scenario, the same way that was it Silencer Code? One of the companies said, "Send us your old cans. We'll give you." Oh, Griffin. Griffin Armament.
yeah.
Griffin Armament said, if you send us any used can, we'll give you a discount off of the next can you buy from us. So you could send them any can in the world, and they would buy them all and give you a discount. Maybe more companies will just do that and fucking repurpose your old shitty used can for steel.
Let's just put it this
That'd
way:
be cool.
if there's so many people that are buying cans that they can't produce them to keep up, that's a good thing.
That is a good
Yeah, I mean, it's so.
That means the law was struck down.
I looked up, is there a steel shortage? Yes, there's currently an acute short-term supply constraint for specific steel products in America, most notably on hot-rolled coil spot market. While the United States has not plunged into total industry-wide resource vacuum, steel buyers are facing highly restricted availability and long delivery windows driven by aggressive trade policies and domestic supply chain tightening.
I'll raise this.
Total steel imports entering the U.S. dropped by 30% in the first half of 2026.
I'll raise this. I think we'll
Thanks,
run out of
Trump.
ammo before we run out of cans.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I think when you start seeing 5.56 teeter closer to $1 a round or 9mm teeter closer to 50 cents a round, that's maybe when you start panic buying.
No, I'm not. It's ammo is easy right now.
But right now, that's not that people are comfortable with that right now. That is not the status quo. We're in a good period. You should be stocking up on ammo. You should be buying as much as you possibly can because probably in the near future, we'll have COVID prices and COVID availability for ammunition again. I do not see this
Here it is.
golden period.
Major domestic steel mills such as Cleveland Cliffs has funneled most of their 2026 production capacity into long-term contract agreements.
Yeah.
Even more of a reason to get additive. Additive. All right, so we're going to call it. We want to thank Jeff for coming by and doing a podcast with us. If you get the opportunity and you're in Sarasota, Florida, come by, hang out. You get to meet Omar, Dean, Luke. We appreciate our sponsors, who is Omni Energy Drinks. They're not really a sponsor. They just give us free energy drinks, and they're cool people. So we say they're our sponsor. But come to our shop. We do these podcasts in order to increase our internet footprint, if you will. It's you will know to come here and check it out. I'll give you a hat or shirts or different type of merch. We really appreciate you watching. And if you get the chance, smash the like button, share this to anybody you can. It really helps with the algorithm. And we will see you again.
Peace.